All right, what is up, everybody? That was just like a little ESPN stock draft image thing that I had up there. So there was something up there before you saw my face. I didn't want to be super jarring. Maybe it was more jarring this way. I don't know. But anyways, the draft is tonight. Yes, it's strange. It's the middle of I guess it's not the middle of the winter. It was really cold in Boston today, so it feels like the middle of the winter, but is the middle of the fall and we have an NBA draft. Unprecedented? Yes, because it's always in the summer, but not this year because this year's 2020 and we don't have anything normal going on in our lives. So why should the NBA draft be at a normal time? I love the draft. I love the NFL draft. I love the NBA draft. I even check in on the baseball draft, even though there's like 3,000 rounds and nobody knows who the players are. Drafts are awesome. Drafts are fun. The NBA one's my favorite. I have memories of watching the draft all the way back to when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I've watched every draft with my dad. This is the first year I'm not going to be watching with my dad, which is weird. But again, strange times of COVID 2020. Shit gets weird. This draft is an unusual one because players have not had the full range of showcasing opportunities that they have had in the past. No NCAA tournament. Workouts have been limited or remote, and interviews have been basically all on Zoom. So there seems to be a consensus that there is no consensus on tonight's draft. And I just want to talk a little bit about the Celtics draft because this still isn't the official Jetstream show that I have getting ready to go. So I don't feel like I need to appeal to a mass audience right now. I can just appeal to the Boston fans and talk about the Celtics because that's what I want to do. I'm wearing a Celtics shirt. I got my Celtics thing right up there. It's hard to point when you're looking at the webcam. No, this way. No, okay. I can't figure it out. It's over there. That's another Celtics thing. But point being, the draft tonight, the Celtics have 3 picks in the first round. They have another pick in the second round. What are they going to do? I don't know, but I can tell you what I hope they don't do. That's make 3 picks in the first round and 1 in the second round because this team doesn't need any more rookies. This team is ready to compete now. I am sick and tired of building for the future. The future is now. You are ready to start competing for a title. Stop pushing the buck, pushing the envelope, pushing whatever to next season, or we're going to keep building. We're going to be better next season. Be better now. Be better now if you're the Celtics. It's time. I think fans have been patient enough. Your last championship you won was in 2008, and the Lakers just tied you for total titles, something that you've had over them for decades. And now you both sit at 17, and the Lakers have already made a good move this offseason, getting Dennis Schroeder from the Thunder. So they're looking to run it back and win another title. And that would put you ahead. If you're the Lakers, they'd put you ahead of the Celtics. And that's something the Celtics just can't allow to happen. And here you are with 3 first-round picks. And I guarantee you, none of those players that are going to come in with those picks are going to make an impact on whether you win a title or compete for a title this year. And that's why the Celtics and Danny Ainge really need to make a move. Now, there's been a lot of talk also about Gordon Hayward and what's happening with him. They were supposed to decide on if he was going to opt in or extend his contract. Yesterday, they pushed that deadline to Thursday. It looks pretty apparent to everybody that Hayward is going to be leaving. I can't say his stay in Boston has been great for him. I understand it. He's been really snake bit with injuries. The fans maybe have been a little bit impatient with him, and he is probably looking for a little bit more financial security for the long term as opposed to 1 year of a big $34 million payday. I get all that stuff. That being said, if Hayward is to leave, that would mean in the past 2 years, you've lost Kyrie Irving, Al Horford, and Gordon Hayward all for absolutely nothing. You've gotten jack shit in return for those. And that's just terrible business. And I tweeted this out the other day. If you're the Celtics and you're Danny Ainge, you can't let star players or all-star level players go and get 0 in return for them. And as far as I'm concerned, there's been talk about Gordon Hayward going to a team like the Hawks and you trading him a sign and trade and getting a trade exemption, a large trade exemption. As far as I'm concerned, that's the same as getting nothing. Oftentimes those don't get used or barely get used, and they don't get used in a way that would really improve the team anyways. My best case scenario for Gordon Hayward right now is he goes home to Indiana, where he's from, and you get Miles Turner. That's something I've been saying, and I think a lot of Celtics fans have been saying for years. Trade Gordon Hayward, upgrade at center with Miles Turner. I don't want to hear that Miles Turner isn't an upgrade over Daniel Theis. Yes, he is. Theis plays really hard. He's excellent on this team. He makes sense to still be on the team. He's not better than Miles Turner. He's not as tall. He's not as athletic. He's not as good of a three-point shooter. He's just not as good. He probably works a little bit harder than Miles Turner and maybe does the dirty work a little bit better. But there's nothing wrong with bringing in Miles Turner and having Daniel Theis be the backup. It's not a slight to Daniel Theis to try to make this Celtics team better. So that's my best case scenario for what the Celtics can do with Gordon Hayward is maybe you attach one of those picks as a sweetener to make sure that Indiana is more enticed to get it done. I think that Hayward would be a great fit on Indiana as their roster is currently constituted, and that he would be happy living at home, and the Celtics would be thrilled to get an upgrade at center. So I think that trade's a no-brainer. But oftentimes those trades that are no-brainers in the NBA never happen. So there's certainly no guarantee that just because I want that trade to happen, a lot of Celtics fans want that trade to happen, and it makes sense. There's no guarantee that that is going to end up what goes down. Then you hear lots of Celtics rumors about, they're trying to trade into the top 3. They're trying to trade Marcus Smart for the number 2 pick. They're trying to get Andre Drummond. They're trying to get James Harden. It seems like to me they love being in all these rumors, and they love calling and saying, hey, we tried to get this guy. We tried to do this. We tried to do that. It just didn't work out. And that's a frustrating thing for Celtics fans is that oftentimes your team is the most heavily involved in rumors and never comes out of those rumors with anything to show for it. Coming out of this draft with 4 new rookies, 3 new rookies, 2 new rookies to me is a failure on the part of Danny Ainge. There's a lot of stuff the Celtics need to make sure they're doing to put themselves in the best position to compete next year. And drafting rookies isn't one of them. Trading Gordon Hayward to getting a trade exemption isn't one of them. And right now, if I had to guess, gun to my head, can I do that correctly here? Yeah, gun to my head. I don't advocate guns, but I would guess that they do end up doing nothing. They make all their picks and they trade Hayward for a trade exemption. And then I really want to see some pressure on Danny Ainge from fans. He's skated by like he's Bill Belichick, who has won 5 Super Bowls as coach and GM of the Patriots. Danny Ainge has won 1 championship as the GM of the Celtics. And it hasn't been for over a decade now. He needs to be getting more pressure on him. He needs to be getting more negative articles written about him, negative tweets, because right now, every pick he makes, every move he doesn't make, he's getting complimented. The price is too high for that player. This player, could project really well. He fits in super well with the team and the culture. No, it's time to say you're competing for a championship now, Celtics. You got to do whatever you have to do to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward to compete for a championship. Not next year, not in 2 years. Right now, this is the time you need to be competing for a championship. Make all-in moves. I don't want to be hoarding draft picks anymore. I don't want to be developing rookie centers anymore. I want the Celtics to be going all in and saying, we are not going to let the Lakers pass us for championships. We are not going to let the Kyrie Irving Brooklyn Nets beat us in the postseason. We're not going to let the Milwaukee Bucks, who sniped the player we wanted in Drew Holiday, beat us again in the postseason. We are going to win the East, then we're going to the championship, and we're going to compete to win that title against the Lakers or the Warriors or whoever is representing the West. That's what they need to have their mindset. Not, we'll compete in 2 years when all of these guys are in their prime and we've developed these players. I'm fucking sick of it. So now's the time. And I love hearing these rumors. It's exciting to hear rumors, but I want some payoff to the rumors. And if there's no payoff, you don't get credit for being involved in trade talk if you're Danny Ainge. You don't get credit for saying, well, we worked as hard as we could. That's nothing. You acquire a player that helps you, or you've done a bad job. At this point, 10 years since your last title, I think that's fair to say that you make your team as good as possible, not for the future, but for now, or else you've done a bad job. And as somebody that's defended Danny Ainge in the past, the rope is getting very thin. The ice is getting thin. Whatever analogy you want to use, I don't know if rope is getting thin is even an analogy. I made it up. I like it. That's the case with Danny Ainge right now. So we'll see what the Celtics do. The draft's in about 30 or so minutes. I mean, I say that because it's supposed to start on time, but it won't. And there's a lot of potential for exciting things to happen for the Celtics, for a lot of teams. I mean, there's already been a bunch of trades already. Al Horford just went to the Thunder. Sixers had to give a first and a second round pick to unload that shitty contract. You're hearing rumors about Andre Drummond being potentially available. You're hearing rumors, obviously, about James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and the Rockets might blow it up. So it could be an extremely exciting draft. What I'm going to do during the draft is turn off my Twitter, because I like that old school, not knowing what's going on before the pick. Okay, I'll rephrase. I'm going to try to turn off my Twitter. I do like to be surprised with when the pick comes in. I don't like to see Woj tweeting about the pick 8 picks before it happens because he knows exactly how it's going to go. That takes away the element of surprise. Maybe that makes me like the people who want to live in like pioneer cabins and churn their own butter. But that's how I want to experience the draft. So I suggest to you, do the same thing. Turn off your Twitter for a little bit. See if you get excited by the ESPN reporting of the draft. That's obviously going to be about 30 to 45 minutes after whatever Woj reports it is. That's the way of the world right now. I like those old school drafts. That's me. I'm not saying it has to be you. Just a suggestion. So we'll see. I'm anxious. I'm excited. I am more anxious for basketball to get back, but this is a good start. I'm expecting a lot of activity from teams, just not the Celtics, and I fully expect to be disappointed. So going into it with that mentality, I can only be not disappointed if they do something. And that's a Jedi mind trick. So we'll see what goes on. I will talk some post-draft tomorrow. Again, I'm going to have like a real show coming out soon with like branding and everything. I keep saying it's going to happen. It's happening soon. It is. I promise. Guests, the whole shebang. But right now, I'm just a man with his webcam sitting in front of a couple of pennants and a foam finger asking you to enjoy the draft. So I will see you guys. I'll probably talk to you. Yeah, I want to break it down. Maybe later tonight, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. We will see. One of those two things will happen. So I will see you guys later. Enjoy the draft. Everybody stay safe. Social distance, wear your mask, wash your hands, and everybody enjoy the draft festivities. See ya.